I have a show. My name's Heide Davis. I'm an artist, and I just had a showing of my new series of oil paintings that I was very inspired by my son, who was into sacred geometry, and he inspired me to do a painting using geometry. It wasn't sacred geometry, but I was really kind of into the shapes that he was doing, and I wanted to put them into my artwork. So I created a kind of a cube painting last year, and it was more of a sketch than a finished painting, but I wanted to create a finished painting from it, so I did, and that led to my doing more geometrical shapes in my surreal portraits that I was also experimenting with. And so I would do these surreal portraits, which were intuitive paintings. I would just kind of start with a lot of organic shapes on my board that I worked on, and I was working in oil, so I would put a lot of paint thinner on it, and you know, kind of use a piece of paper to, pull it off, do an effect called frottage, and it makes a lot of interesting shapes, and I would kind of use those to inspire me to go from there and eventually come up with a portrait. Always of a woman, but sometimes she didn't have, anything but an ear or one eye instead of two, or, and they were fun to make. And then I'd put a little bit of geometry in there, and through doing this, I kept coming across kind of coincidences in what I was using. I was using these shapes, and I realized that two of the shapes that I was using were, after doing a little bit of research online, I realized that there's something called the platonic solids, which are five different shapes that all represent the elements that make up the universe. And there's one of them is a cube, represents Earth. The other one, a dodecahedron, which represents ether, which is this kind of discredited now gas that people used to think was needed for light to go through, and they know that it's not there now, but it's still kind of a neat idea, and so I use that shape a lot. So I kind of married the two, and that's how I came up with my series of work, which is now showing at Coffee House Northwest.
They're really lovely. Thank you very much.